All right. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool and Jonathan. Wow, my voice cracked on that one. I don't know what happened there. Sean McCool.
High note there.
Yeah, I can tell you. With again, we've got a special guest today. This is going to be a fun one, a little bit different than what we usually do.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about the psychology of the pour, as in pouring a beer, and how storytelling and packaging works in that world, in this craft beer world.
Yeah.
And we've got a guy coming on, Bryant, that's what he does.
Yeah.
He helps with the storytelling and the packaging. So we're going to be talking kind of some analog stuff, actual packaging that can make a difference. We'll talk about maybe how you can apply that online if you're online, but just a little bit different perspective and a little bit of nuts and bolts on getting attention and all those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have Bryant, and I should have asked him before we sent him to the green room, but I'm going to say Word, because I don't think he would like us to call him Weird. It's Weerd. So Bryant may have to correct me. He is the founder and creative director of Full Pour Media, an award-winning creative agency that specializes in the food and beverage industry. Full Pour Media works with clients in the U.S. and abroad to plan, produce, and execute marketing and promotional strategies. He has won 3 Emmy Awards for his work, and Full Pour Media has won 9 craft beer marketing awards for their work in marketing and storytelling. So
very nice.
Honor to have Bryant on the show today, and have to really apologize for messing up his last name if I did.
All right, well, let's bring him on.
You and the rest of the world, Jonathan.
All right.
Well, I took a gamble, Bryant. I didn't want to say weird, so I went with Word.
Nope, it's weird.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, nobody wants to say weird, but that's what she be.
I like that.
Yeah, just own it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, come to Austin, right? I mean, keep it weird. Yeah. So they've kind of ruined that, but used to be the thing. But
weird is that I've never seen a last name like that. That's very unique.
It's a Dutch name. It's an old school Dutch name. Yep.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, like Vander kind of give that away. So is it Vander Weerd?
Weerd, right?
Exactly.
So is Vander the middle name, or is it part of the last?
2-word last name. Yeah. You should see all the junk mail I get addressed to Weird Vander and Bryant Weerd and all this other nonsense, and it's constant. It's constant. It throws computers off. It throws Jonathan off. It throws everything off.
It's man. What a tough way to go through life, man. It's like a boy named Sue. It's almost
absolutely
bad.
Yeah.
All right. Brian might be too young for that reference, but
no, it's funny catch.
Some of our listeners got it. So, all right. Well, Brian, before we jump in, give people a little bit of tease about why they might want to stick around.
Absolutely. Breweries today, breweries all over the place. You likely have one in your neighborhood. The majority of what they rely on is in the digital world, social media, website. Today, we're really going to nerd out about some of the analog touch points that are actually can be more influential when it becomes time to buy.
Cool.
Yeah, those are things that capture us because we've reviewed, we've got 400 some episodes. I mean, we've done, I don't know how many beers along that, because some of those are repeats, but a lot of these beers that we pick out, man, it's all about design and, what captures our attention and at the, in the store. So,
yep. All right. Well, Bryant, I asked you before the show, I was, fingers crossed that you brought a good craft beer since that's your business. And you said you did. So tell us what you got.
This is actually a home brewed oatmeal stout, one of my home brewing inventions. It was kind of a thing I did on Thanksgiving, and it was packaged and ready to go right around Christmas time. So the timing was great. Pretty low ABV, about 3.9, but still kind of has that dry oatmeal vibe to it. I wanted something that was, Guinness-like, but not super, super heavy.
Yeah.
As even myself, I cut back now, every now and then on drinking and alcohol. So this kind of fits right in the pocket there.
Nice. Very nice. All right, Jonathan, what do you have?
So I have I'm not going to highlight it on the screen, but this is a maple breakfast coffee 10W.
10W40. Yeah.
Yeah, from Highwire right here in Knoxville. So
I love their whole brand, the 10W40.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
love
cool
their
brand.
art.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with these guys, Brian?
Absolutely. Yeah. We
Yeah.
had a tap room. I lived in Louisville, Kentucky for a while, and I knew the tap room manager at Highwire in Louisville. I totally agree with both of you. I love their brand. I love all their beer.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, to name a dark beer after oil is just perfect. I mean, that was just somebody was thinking that day at the office whenever they did that. So, all right. Well, so is that a stout or what do they classify? I can't remember.
Yeah, it is a imperial stout. So it's only only an 8% imperial stout though. So brewed with coffee, vanilla. So I think we've had this one before, but it always looks good around this time of year.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, on my end, I've got one that we had on a couple years ago, and I saw it on the shelf because it was on the singles rack because it's kind of after the holidays, so it's a little late. But it's the infamous Bad Santa Coffee Stout.
Awesome.
And it's a collab between a local brewery and a local coffee company. So the coffee is Invader Coffee.
Yeah.
And then Infamous is the brewer right down the street here. So yeah, it's got some cool, like, I don't know if anybody saw Fat Man this year on Netflix or one of those. It was
I've seen Bad Santa with Billy Bob.
This was like it was similar to this, but it was Mel Gibson was Santa Claus.
Okay.
It was interesting. Called Fat Man. It was pretty funny. It was wasn't your typical holiday kids Santa, that's for sure. So that's what we've got. And it is a coffee stout, and I think it's 10%. Yeah, 10%. So.
Okay. High octane today.
That's right.
That's pretty common for us on the show. So
especially this time of year, we have to
cooler weather. Got to enjoy it before the IPAs hit,
right?
Yeah, before the IPAs hit, and then we're all just struggling to find something good.
Yeah.
So, well, Bryant, let's cheers it up. Then we'll do a quick review of each one. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Once again, if you weren't watching or listening last year, Jonathan and I are drinking out of our Chug mugs.
That's right.
Nice big
Chug, CHUUG. Chug.
These are kind of Dutch, right? I mean, wood and rope.
Yeah.
Well, they came from overseas.
Kind of a Viking Dutch. That whole world.
I love it. I'll check them out. Those look great.
Yeah, they've got a cool brand. Just some of their videos, they've done a good job on their. I guess their storytelling.
I think it's Chug with 2 U's. CHUUG.
Right.
So good stuff. All right. Well, Brian, I know you're biased because you made the brew, but what do you try to be objective? What do you give that on a scale of 1 to 5 pints?
Let's see. I'll admit it was my first home brew. Well, I'm sorry, my first successful home brew. I should say that. I made a terrible mistake that I will not get into the first time, but I learned and I moved on.
Good for you for trying, though. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I got the itch again after that first failure. I like the 3.9, but I do wish it was a little bit, kind of in that maybe low 4s, mid 4s. Out of 5, I'm pretty proud of it. I'd say 4.
Okay.
Nice work. How long did that one take you to? What was the total time on that brew time?
It was a good day. I mean, it was, a solid day, obviously, of brewing. And then it was about a 2-week ferment. The yeast that I used was real quick. I think it was done bubbling in about 2 or 3 days. To the point where I had to check and make sure, but just the SO4 yeast that I use is just works really fast.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Very cool. Jonathan, what do you give your
I'm going to go with a 4.7 on this one. Very good.
Yeah, it's a quality
Not
beer.
too syrupy.
Yeah.
For sure.
So this is interesting because I know I've had this one before, and I remember not giving it a great score. And I was curious if this batch would be different, since I'm sure every year it's a little bit different.
Yep.
And I remember the other one was a little syrupy or just not quite right. This one has a lot more of the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like they hit the coffee right, and less on the alcohol and the ferment and all that. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 4.5. It's really good, nice, and got that nice coffee and
Yeah.
all that other
All
stuff
of those
going on.
flavors working
Yeah,
together.
it's just coming out. So yeah, it's good.
That's good. Last week was a horrible rating. This
Yeah.
week is much better. So
Good across the board. Yeah. So it's going to have
you
that.
get some hits and misses, right, Brian?
For sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, Bryant, let's talk about, first of all, how did you get to this point? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think most people, at 10 are like, I want to sell beer, man. Or maybe it depends on the family, I guess. But
Yeah.
how'd you stumble into this world?
So I mean, I've been doing videography. I've been doing kind of storytelling for half my life at this point. And have, it really took off when I moved to Denver, Colorado in about 2013. And that was, we'll get into the kind of craft beer boom, which I'm sure y'all have talked about before, but that was, things were still expanding, that we were kind of reaching that maturity level, but we lived right in between two real, like one of them, GABF award-winning breweries within a 2-minute drive from our house. So it was a lot of, hey, I want to work for myself. I want to start something. I was in the TV news world. I was in the corporate world. So it was really about meshing what I love, what I admire, respect, and what I'm good at, so kind of craft beer and storytelling came together, and it's taken a lot of forms over the years, for sure. Just kind of making pivots and everything, but that was kind of like that initial, the initial kind of big boom.
Very cool. So what kind of TV were you in before?
General assignment TV news, kind of hopped around the country, but I worked at an affiliate station in Denver, doing day turn work. What really kind of got me into more of the storytelling side was, I mean, if you look at a TV news truck, they're usually at a not so great story. You either meet somebody on the best day of their life or the worst. There's not really an in between. So to kind of
if it bleeds, it leads, right? I mean,
exactly. And Denver was pretty good about not being super heavy crime. Denver is actually a really good storytelling market for softer feature pieces and kind of getting that human interest side. So that's where I had a ton of really great mentors. I was already into the storytelling thing, but that's really where I sharpened my teeth, at least on the video side.
That's awesome.
Toward this. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a catchphrase like, and that's the way the cookie crumbles, or anything like that?
Oh, I was behind the camera, so I was like,
okay.
I get to go home now. Or don't. If you see a cop car speeding by, you turn your phone off and just walk out of the station, kind of thing. If you're done for the day.
Yeah, got it. Cool.
So when did you from there you turned your attention into marketing and storytelling for other companies, right?
Right. Yeah. So it was a lot of, it started out kind of weekend warrior work. I mean, literally doing video for breweries. That's what it started out as, kind of getting into these kind of like evolution and pivots now. And it morphed into, hey, managing the social media kind of, and then that morphed into managing kind of more full stack marketing, the strategy, the social, the email, all these kind of on the digital side. But obviously that after that leaked into and expanded into the packaging design, and just being connected in the industry. It's a small group within a small industry. So have some really great, packaging designers that I'm closely connected with. I design packaging as well. And really lately have been focusing on trying to do a lot more of the video side of things for not just breweries, but supplier brands, think like your Breeze Malt or the folks that sell kind of those big stainless tanks to breweries, and bring, again, what I love to do, to an industry that can really use it.
Yeah, I've been to one of those. I think it's the Craft Beer Expo. They had it was a few years ago, the one in Nashville. I actually went to that just because it was local to my area, and spent like a day and a half there. And I was just blown away because that's a huge industry. So I don't know if you go to those events, but
if you saw a sweaty guy running around with a camera, that was me. So,
okay, I think I did see you.
I'm on stage like during the World Beer Cup Award. If you went to the WBC Awards I'm on stage running around, getting all the people jumping up and down and everything. So it's a fun time, but it's a lot. It's a lot of walking. It's a lot of running around. And it's like a reunion sometimes, seeing everybody that I know.
Yeah.
How's the market? Like, I know that we'll get into, some of the work that you do, but I'm just curious because Sean and I have touched on this with it seems like the younger generation, the Gen Zs, they're drinking less, so I'm sure that's had an impact on a lot of these craft breweries. I mean, where so many people are starting to cut out alcohol or substituting it at least.
Right. Well, and even like it's so easy to kind of point the finger at Gen Z. And by and large, obviously they make up they're those darn kids. And by and large, they are aging into the drinking market. But you think about folks like us, we've got matured 401ks and kids and college funds and everything. So across the board, people are thinking differently, drinking differently.
Right.
It is kind of it's a maturing even customer base.
Right.
So, I mean, the Gen Z topic, I think even at Nashville was one of the first CBC talks on how do we deal with these darn kids in our yard kind of thing. How do we bring them in? And it's still, it's still a hot button issue. Just by and large, that cross section of people of humans are drinking less, drinking differently. If we get into like the THC and the wellness stuff today, that's playing a big part of it. They also just don't have money. They're also broke. It's that
they got PBR money, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you got in pretty early on the craft beer boom. You kind of watched it go up, and then when I say early, I mean from a mainstream perspective, anyway.
Yeah.
What you said this year was the first year that it's actually statistically gone down as far as less brewers, right?
Right. So Bart Watson, I believe it was last year at CBC, kind of like the opening keynote, made note that, whether it was 2024 or 5, was the first year when more breweries closed than opened. Yeah.
Cool. Wow. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Cause I mean, and some of that was probably oversaturation, just natural, that kind of stuff.
It's going to happen.
So I'm curious, Bryant, like, you've seen a lot of, tell us a little bit about like the average craft brewer. I mean, my picture is there's somebody who just loved craft beer, had the dream, but probably don't have a lot of business or marketing background. Is that true, or is that just my?
Oh, it's all over the place. Yeah. I mean, we see it all the time. I kind of have it, internally refer to as kind of like this caveman mentality of like, me like beer, me make beer, me open brewery.
Yeah.
Yes. So many times, I'll go in and it's like, well, I just, my friend's an accountant, so he wanted in on it, and we're sitting drinking in my garage one night, and we came up with this business idea. It is very much, and it's actually why I respect the industry a lot, is because it's a passion. It's a passion project for a lot of them. It's like, I make 7 great home brews. I want to now share this with the world. It is very much this passionate kind of thing. So absolutely. I mean, we see that so often is brewers just kind of trying to limp their way through marketing, or get by with see if they can get by with the bare minimum, or just not, knowing that they need help, but not even knowing where to start, kind of thing.
Yeah. Not even having marketing is a skill, it's something you have to learn. It's not just something that, you can do intuitively. I mean, you can a little bit. There's obviously examples of that have done pretty well, but so how do you start to introduce storytelling? Because a lot of marketers, a lot of people who are don't know marketing, they may not think storytelling is real marketing, or like, how do you start that conversation with them? They know they need more sales. That's about all they know.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
They need more money to cover the cost of their beer. Like, they're drinking the profits. So how do they get more people to help them? So how do you start that conversation?
Right.
How do you show them the importance of like storytelling versus, more traditional marketing, like a billboard that
Sure.
may just be location or something,
Right. Well, I mean, even just to address like the billboards thing, unless you're a Stone, unless you're a Founders, unless you're a Lagunitas, a lot of them just don't have those discretionary funds to have a billboard. I do, my folks live in Missouri, so I do see these kind of small kind of postcard billboards, but that's the exception, not the rule.
Sure.
So a lot of them do lean on the digital side because a website is constant, or social media is quote unquote free.
Yeah.
So just in terms of that, you think about laying a foundation for a building. You think about laying or having these established processes. You have so many SOPs for the back of house, but you're just kind of doing, I'll put it in you're doing, oh crap, marketing. Oh crap, I need to post today. Oh crap, I need to do this.
Yeah.
And there's no thought behind it. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, we have a bingo night next week, or a sponsored event next week. I should probably do this. I should probably do that. There's not strategy behind it, but there's so much strategy that goes into back of house. There's so much strategy that goes into getting business loans, or sometimes even partnerships, community partnerships with a coffee roaster. Why not apply those same kinds of strategies to your marketing? Because that is the front, your website is your front door of your business a lot of times, or your Google, your Google business listing. That's the front door a lot of the time. So what we really try to emphasize is having all of those digital touch points telling the same story. If I'll use, one client, for example, Yelp had one set of hours, Google had one set of hours, the Visit Missouri site had another set of hours. And we basically came in and combed all that out, unified it. And they started I called him one day last summer, and he's like having trouble keeping beer in tanks. It's just like, getting a lot more of that awareness happens with just these little tiny, can happen with just these little tiny changes, and making sure you're telling the same story all the way from your foundation through to your website, through to the tap room. What does the tap room signage look like? All the way to your cans, to your packaging that goes out to distributors.
That's a great reminder that something as simple as checking the hours on different sites, like that's it's so easy to overlook because you're just so in it. You just assume it's right or whatever. But that's crazy that kind of stuff can happen. I saw Jonathan, I think I sent this to you and David a while back, but somebody created a pizza place, and the name of their company was Pizza Near Me. It's like, I mean, that's somebody who's thinking about the online experience and
absolutely
where people start,
right? Because what do people type in their Google search?
So craft brewery near me, like that. I mean, that could be the name of that'd be funny if that was the name of your business, but but you're right. I mean, telling the story, I think so often we think the customer experience starts at the door, and these days it's just people are looking at your website, they're looking at Google, they're looking at reviews, they're looking at all that. So keeping that story consistent. You're right. The congruency is huge.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you help them? How do you help them figure out the story?
Going back to that foundation, unfortunately, a lot of breweries start and get going and have beer in tanks and have customers and have branded glassware, and they think they kind of know their brand. It's clean, fresh, approachable beer. Okay, well, take a number, get in line. That's what every single brewery wants. Good beer, good atmosphere. Oh, that's what every single brewery wants is good beer, good atmosphere.
Right.
So it can be a little bit of work to kind of convince them to go back. You kind of do need to go back, especially when you get into distribution, because if you don't know what story you're telling, the guy and gal selling your beer doesn't know what story to tell either. So it can be a little bit of additional footwork when a brewery has already been established. Sometimes, we talk to 5-year-old breweries or 6, 3, 4, 5-year-old breweries who are already rocking and rolling, but really don't have a handle on who their target customer is. Besides, it's not beer drinkers. It's not just like thirsty people. There does need to be a lot more footwork done to determine, hey, this is what sets us apart. This is our USP, our unique selling proposition. It's not fresh ingredients and approachability. That's way too generic. Let's actually sit here and get uncomfortable a little bit and actually tell me why you opened this place in the first place. You're a veteran, you're this and that, you're a plane nerd, and you really wanted everything to be aviation themed. Like, let's drill down a lot more.
Yeah, people always assume that it has to be about the product. Like, I'm sure, so they're thinking like, how we make it or the ingredients and all of that stuff. But, everybody's pretty much the same, right? So you have to be thinking beyond that. Like, what's your why? People want to know, why did you start? What's your why behind this? Like, I think of a company like during the holidays, I ordered it's a pie company out of Georgia. And I ordered some holiday pies, and the reason why I ordered from them is their story, because I heard their advertisement on a podcast of all things, and they were talking about why they started this company was to raise money for their special needs child. And it turned into a business from that. Originally it didn't start out as a pie business, but they were just making pies to raise money for their daughter, who was, a special needs child. So they could help her. And then that turned into a business because people started giving them feedback like, you guys need to go into business because these pies are so good. By the way, Sean, they're Georgia grads. They're based out of Athens. So
have to get that name from you.
Yeah. So so anyway, the story is what captured me. It wasn't like the fact that their pies were so good. It was like their story. I want to support this company or, this family business that started based on, the story that they told.
What's the most unique version, like the most unique story that you uncovered, Bryant, and like your favorite, maybe not the most unique, but just your favorite, like
sure,
where you took them from kind of that generic and you were able to uncover X.
I would say, two things stand out to me, and one of them was one that it was already there. It was already established, and something I talked about, like I'm a plane nut, I'm a plane nerd. It's a brewery in Denver. I guess I can shout them out. It's Flight Co Brewing. They were one of our first clients, back in 2020. And the owner and his partners were all, he owns like an experimental kit plane. And used to, he used to be a Boeing engineer. So their whole interior is kind of encapsulated in this Boeing, almost fuselage looking thing. It's modeled after that. So, that to me is, and obviously the creative and everything, it writes itself, right? The beer names, the menu style, the everything else. It's just there. When the old Stapleton airport is called Stapleton in Denver, but what used to be DIA was in a town called like an area called Stapleton of Denver. Tower was there, everything. DIA moved out to where it is now. And I'll tell you what, it went through a handful of owners, but when it came time again, one of the partners of Flight Co put in an offer, and they bought the space. So now they own Flight Co Tower, and that thing you just hit right there, hops over the Rockies. They will take all of their experimental planes and actually fly into hop country in Colorado. Fill their planes with a bunch of hops on fresh hop, during fresh hop season in like August, September, and fly them back the same day, stick them in the tank the same day, for this kind of fun competition, if you will, of the freshest hops all over the Rockies. So it's cool. A really cool thing that again, the stories write itself when you've done that back end research and who you are.
So this picture here that's on their website, that's the actual, like the old airport, like the smaller
The
airport.
building itself isn't. That was
Just the tower.
the tower itself is. I've
That's
walked up it. I believe they're trying to do tower tours. It's needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
At least when I was there. So I think they're raising or trying to save up or raise money to actually have tower tours, that people can go up there. They take just a small group of people there every so often, but I definitely think they want to, beef that up because it's, you can see all the way to the Rockies,
Oh, yeah.
10, 20 miles. So
Yeah. That's one where they kind of had it and it sounds like you fine tuned it and probably helped with the display.
Right.
Is there one that where you like went from super generic to you were able to uncover something that you like? Putting you on the spot here.
You're right, exactly. I would say the second one I mentioned that comes to mind is out here in Wisconsin, where I'm located, and has a strong, base. It's very lake life. It's very, obviously up here there's a ton of little lakes everywhere. During the summer, lake life is huge. People from Chicago and Illinois drive all the way through, to their lake houses and big. So lake life, but they hadn't really been embracing that. It was a lot of taproom centric content. It was a lot of, just kind of what I call beer on bar shots and everything. So we worked with them, I believe, last summer to really build out a lot more of their content library that is a lot more lake based. That's a lot more kind of embraces the lake vibe that, they had done this brand research, but not really done anything with it. They had hired this other agency to revamp their website and this, that, the other, but really hadn't executed on it. So I would lump that in with kind of, what you mentioned there, Sean, is they had it at least, but didn't really know what to do with it. Didn't really know the kind of proper kind of stories to tell.
Didn't realize like how powerful that could be. Sounds like
exactly.
Yeah. Still thought like Jonathan said earlier, think that the beer is the main attraction.
Yeah.
When really it's identifying with a lifestyle. Oh, you happen to have beer. That's great too. Like,
yeah,
that's what was the name of that one? That brewery?
That's Lake Louis Brewing.
Okay. Lake Louis.
I believe it's lakelouisbrewing.com. Yep.
Yeah. Found it.
So you mentioned you work, I want to pivot to
Yep.
the artistic side or the packaging side, which, that's a big reason why some of us, if you're not going to the brewery, sometimes you're going into your local, establishment or liquor store or whatever, you like, and there's options everywhere. So, one of the things that helps in decision making for us is like, okay, the visual effects. So, I mean, and that's a big part of it. People are looking for something unique. Design plays a big part of that. So if you would talk a little bit about your experience in design and how you work with your clients in that, and we'll get into some of those touch points.
Sure. So as I mentioned, I've got a handful of contractors, basically contacts that I know pretty intimately in the craft beer world. They work in other kind of niches as well, but I tap them a lot for design work. I do some design work myself, but I kind of need that higher end sort of elevated. Yeah. I'm semi-dangerous at Adobe Illustrator, but they are, master level. So I know where my strengths lie. But, having packaging that adheres to, we're just kind of looking at it, scrolling through the Lake Louis site, is like the packaging, it looks like it's a piece of the website, and then you go into the tap room and everything should be consistent. Everything should be the same. Whether it's you have a kind of an offshoot series of beers and you just make small packaging tweaks, as long as you kind of are connected back to that principal brand, that primary brand, that's really the key to kind of creating that consistency.
Yeah, I love how on the screen here we're showing the Lake Louis Brewing. There's 3 different cans, 3 different types of beer. what I love about this, and I love brands that do this. I love authors that do this with their books. John Maxwell comes to mind immediately, where there's there's a block of the product that
Mhm.
always looks very, very much the same. And then there's different colors and different patterns and things below that or around that, but you get
Yeah.
that just instant recognition that, oh, this is from that same company.
Right.
And I don't think enough companies do that very well, including this company that I have today, like every can looks completely different,
Mhm.
and if I really like that, it's hard to, and I think part of it's just they're smaller and they just do their own stick-on labels, so they don't have the full top to bottom can design. But there's other companies like Martin Brewing in Fort Worth, who's one of my favorites that we've had on a bunch of times. Does a good job of kind of tying those things together. But I love this idea here of like where
Consistency. Yeah.
a third of the can, 25% of the can is like immediately recognizable as that's a brand I trust and I like.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's very clean too. I like the clean look too.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that something you have to talk people into? Is it like, because you see all kinds of stuff, like, is this something you like to do on a regular basis?
So I mean, I can say this is you kind of made mention of it, is nowadays you go to the beer, and this was, obviously even worse in 08, 09, 010, was you go to the craft section and it's just this visual onslaught of neons and, sparkling this and that. And there's a brewery out here who I believe in, 09 or so, when they packaged their IPA, they were one of the first to put, a cat riding a unicorn holding a gun, and people were chasing the beer truck down.
Yeah.
So a lot of these breweries kind of followed suit. And now it's just visual, just chaos. It's like overwhelm, sensory overwhelm. So to that point, we're seeing this swing back into more simplicity, or maybe nostalgia, or just cleaner. My friend who lives in Atlanta sent me a picture of like those like emergency drinking beer. It's just like a white label with black text or blue text. And it's that is obviously a little bit heavy-handed on the minimalism, but
that's where 1040 started. They were just black and white, and now they've added some color and some things like that. It's funny you say that. Here, there's a brand that's here. I don't know where it is here, but have you heard of Untitled Art?
Oh yeah, they're actually they brew out of Wisconsin, about 20 minutes from me. Yep.
I didn't know if they were here. I know they're here in the HEB stores here in Texas. But I think they've done a lot of their artwork, at least it was, is a little more toned down, but it looks like they've gone back a little bit. For a while they were just very almost minimalist, but
yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can kind of see the variety there is similar but different. You can change colorways, change just a few things.
Yeah, and definitely around the rim, you've got that same band every time. That's even that 5 or 10%, like that makes a difference to recognize.
Yeah.
Well, it's trust building. It's trust building for consumers. They know what they're going to get when they get it.
And I think that's something so talk a little bit about that. If you can expand on that, because I think that's something that maybe online entrepreneurs or independent people don't do well, is the brand, maybe they create a product one time and create a little e-cover for it or whatever, and then the next time it looks totally different.
Yeah.
Do you have some like standard rules or anything like that you follow to help people? Or
I wouldn't say standard rules. It varies client to client. It is important. It's always it's important to us to pay attention to that. Like, where's that line of like too much and then not enough, but then also does it fit with again, the website or the tap room and everything like that. Like, we have a client who we do a lot of packaging for, a Transparent Brewing Company out of Kansas City. And this was a situation where we came in, they had already had beer in packages, but needed a little bit of logo cleanup, branding cleanup. So we were tied into their kind of existing cans, because you don't want to just flip the script on people who are already expecting this. But how can you make changes enough to where, how can we clean it up enough to where everything is a lot more clear. Maybe elevate the artwork a little bit. Just make it's like where is that line? Where is that kind of like too much, not enough line?
Yeah. So are there elements of trust in design? Like, is just certain psychologically speaking, like, is there colors? Is there shapes? Like,
just going back to simplicity and clarity, I think those are the two big things that are really, even seeing it now in the alt bev world and the THC CBD drinks, like clarity, consistency. That's what really communicates trust and can be key in what people pick when it comes time to buy, because a lot of the time I'm going to the store and I know I want a lager or I know I want an oatmeal stout. I don't necessarily go and say, I want WD-40. I want WD-40. We should make one called WD-40. But I want a flavor. I don't necessarily go looking brand specific. So a lot of the times, I would say 70% from the research I've done of people make those purchase decisions when they're at the shelf. I'm one of them. They don't necessarily go out ahead of time. They don't make those decisions ahead of time. And
nostalgia too. I mean, that's got to play a lot into that, because I don't know about your age, Bryant, but Sean and I are children of the 80s, man. And that, there's some nostalgia that plays into that. But typically that age group that, there were kids from the 80s, those guys have the money. That's a pretty solid demographic to market to. So, I'm sure there's a lot of opportunity for, nostalgia when it comes to artwork, reminding people of, the greatest decade of all time,
simpler times, blowing on the cartridge and putting it back in, kind of thing. I mean, playing on those emotions, that's a lot of it is really like, going back to that kind of purchase decision. If you can grab somebody's emotion, I do this in video all the time. If you can grab somebody's emotion, that's the biggest key. That's the biggest key to really getting their trust, but just their purchase, their money. It's kind of that we're seeing heritage, almost like heritage palettes, like, kind of vintage fonts. You think about like Trogs Brewing, they're kind of revisit like Nugget Nectar, kind of exciting longtime fans. Moving back, it's the beer industry is becoming self-aware that they know that they used to be chaotic teenagers and now they're kind of returning home to what feels better. They've got health insurance now. they can settle down a little bit.
Well, and as a craft brewer too, I mean, when you go from, $6 for a 6-pack to $12 for a 4-pack or $20 for a 4-pack, like it's a different demographic, that can buy that beer or is willing to buy that beer than the Bud Light or the PBR or Keystone or whatever,
And you get into distribution, like tap room's a little different, but you get into the distribution side and it's your margins are razor thin sometimes. And so it's even more, I always say that like the tap room is the place to have fun and go skew crazy and this and that, but really like have this called like skew rationalization out in the market to say, hey, what purpose does this serve? Be very data driven in, hey, this skew, even though I like it, even though it rounds out our portfolio, doing terribly. So we need to push that, push this maybe back into the tap room, whatever that looks like. So really rationalizing what's out there, what you're putting out there can help. Like don't bombard people, even within your own brand, even if your brand is simple. Don't bombard people with 10, 12, 15 different SKUs and think that's just going to mean more money. It's not. The almost less is more kind of.
Well, even I mean, I don't know. Do you know about like the retail side any? I mean, if I asked you a couple questions there.
I also have folks that know a heck of a lot more than I do.
Okay, well, we'll give it a stab. So it seems to me when I go into most whether it's a liquor store, whether it's the grocery store, craft beer does not get a lot of shelf space. Like, it seems like shelf space is quite premium compared to wine or, if you're in a liquor store, obviously it's liquor heavy and there's one cooler in the back. If you're in a grocery store, it's wine heavy. It's not as beer heavy as it used to be. Are you seeing that? And is that play into design and package design?
I can say it used to be that distributors and sales reps were knocking down, I say, knocking down your door or knocking down breweries' doors to kind of get this product in. And now it's hard for them to return a call. They don't return a call really, or an email. So that is because of that SKU proliferation, because there was and is so much. And you can't, in good conscience, go in and try and cannibalize one of your competitors and say, hey,
sure,
serve this lager over, or serve my lager over this one, or hey, replace this stout with that. So it's finding getting in where you fit in, very much. But yeah, that's a song that everybody's singing is less and less shelf space, excuse me. And it's kind of like the eternal.
You got to stand out. I mean, if shelf space at a premium now, you have to, you have to stand out. You have to do something different beyond your competition. I mean, you see this in the spirits too. Like, you go into bourbon and you see all the bourbons, like you're overwhelmed with bourbons. And then you see people doing different things, like, different bottles, it's unique bottle styles.
And that's even harder to stand out. I mean, because there is a kind of an expectation on the shape of a bourbon bottle compared to a vodka bottle, compared to a rum bottle. There are kind of categories for that kind of stuff, but and you only have so much label space typically as well. It's like, you don't have the whole can like you do with beer, even though only part of it shows. But yeah, it's a brutal business. So what are some other, like, just in general, some psychology of storytelling packaging that we haven't covered that you've, or any stories that you want to share that might help people regardless of the type of business they're in? Whatever pops to mind.
Yeah, I'm meshing right now in my head, packaging and storytelling. Just that's kind of bookending what we're talking about here. You just mentioned it is like packaging is that storytelling medium. That is your chance that you get in a C-store. That is your chance that you get at a liquor store or a grocery store to communicate your identity, to communicate your values. So when that visual language stays consistent over time, it becomes kind of this shorthand for the brand. It strengthens loyalty. It is another arm of that marketing. It is another arm of the storytelling. That keeping it consistent, build your tribe. It may, they may pick one stout over the other or one lager over the other in stores, but that's still brand. There's still brand loyalty there. There's still, if you want to go to a tap room, if you want to go somewhere, you do have a lot of room to play in, when it comes to that. And
So Sean and I talk about this all the time, because we go in, we review so many beers, but there are some beers that intentionally create singles or a 4-pack, whereas, traditionally you have a 6-pack, and I think that's part of their marketing is a scarcity approach to, drive up their, it's like, hey, we're going to be seen as a premium, right? Whether it's a 4-pack or a single. I mean, when you're working with clients, I mean, a lot of the companies that you work with, is that conversations that you have with them is like, there's 2 different avenues. You can be all over the place, or you can be, one of the select few, or, one of the singles and one of the premiums that you're going to pay a fortune for, and the margin's going to be a little bit higher, or you can go for volume. So.
Yeah. I had this conversation with a client this past fall who's getting a lot heavier into distro and really wanting to, like I said, keep the SKUs to kind of like your your 3 to 4 cores, and then if you have, kind of like these seasonals, you can rotate
Right.
seasonals out, maybe obviously 4 seasonals like once a quarter, and then it's a funnel, right? It's upside down
Yeah.
pyramid, is maybe 1 to 2 special releases. As far as this, the 4s versus the 6s, versus the cases, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the 4-pack, of craft came in. Specifically, I know that a lot of there are
I think it almost had to be a price point issue, right? Where you had to stay somewhat close to a 6-pack, but you couldn't.
Yeah, right. It's something like that. That to be honest, yeah, I'm not. That was almost before my time. It was something that, but yeah, you certainly see a lot less of the. I know Dale, like Oscar Blues, Dale's Pale Ale was the first craft beer in a can. And people laughed at him when they did that. And there's still some fun, like, talk about storytelling. We can go on forever about that, but there's some fun nuggets in the Dale's Pale Ale can. I can kind of share with you off camera. I'm not sure what your audience is like in terms of all that, but just but they sell anyway. They sell in 6-packs. They sell in cases. So to be honest, I'm not sure specifically what spurred that 4-pack thing, but yeah, I think you're onto something there with the quantity.
I would think, if I'm looking at a shelf, especially if the shelf only has 2 cans, because whether it's a 6 or a 4, only 2 cans are going to face probably. And if I'm looking at the price right below it, especially in a grocery store kind of setting or, cooler, and the price is below it, like if it's, $20 instead of $8, like there's a part of my brain that's going to just shut that off. But if I take 2 cans away, you know what I mean? Like, and most consumers aren't going to do the math of per can.
Per ounce. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, if I were a brewer, if I had the preference, I'd want to brew less at a premium price.
Yeah.
Or,
I think that
sell less,
probably works out that way.
Higher price than more, competing at the same price as everybody else. Right. I mean,
yeah, I think the cost of goods was probably higher. And if I had to guess, we could research it and find out. But if I had to guess, it was that the cost of goods was higher and they just couldn't compete 6 to 6. So they had to bring the overall price down. But I don't know. I'm just guessing.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
From a consumer psychology kind of standpoint.
Right.
Well,
and it's, to that point of premium price and premium, ingredients. And I think that it's, when you're in the craft world versus the Anheuser-Busch's of the world, you're competing with Joe Schmo down the street who you already know, and you're competing with, if you want your beer out in stores, you're competing with, distribution, and how much of this is this distributor going to buy it for? If you overprice it, then they're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy it from you. They're going to buy something else. So it's like this, not a race to the bottom necessarily, but everybody's kind of keeping everybody in check.
Yeah. But to your point, Jonathan, on the singles, now I do think that feels more like just a high-end strategy. Like, 1 bottle for $20. Like that definitely feels more like a premium type play in that world.
I agree. You're paying $20 for a bottle. That's pretty good margin for me. I'd rather be in that space, but there's different, obviously there's different approaches. You can sell, some of these same companies are still selling 6-packs, but they're also selling their premiums too. But
doesn't seem like there's as much of a range with beer as there is with wine, for instance, or liquor.
Yeah.
Like you can have a $20 liquor and a, $300 bottle of liquor, bourbon, all in the same store and almost the same amount of shelf space in some cases.
Well, and I think that goes to your market, like who your market is. Mm-hmm. You're not marketing to everybody that drinks beer, right? Isn't that right? It's like you're marketing to people who are, craft beer, who subscribe to or visit these shows and go to, subscribe to craft beer enthusiast, .com or whatever, that are following, the latest, the latest in the industry, right?
Is that, do we not have like really high end beers? Like high end wine, high end liquor, but we don't really see a lot of high end beer, at least not At least I'm not in those circles. Is it because beer doesn't last as long? Like it's just harder to age, or is it just not a market for it?
I think there's less of a market for it. It's obviously it's gone a lot quicker. I mean, there certainly is and was. We did when I lived in Colorado, we did marketing for Weldworks Brewing out of Greeley, Colorado, and they would have used to have like lines out the door for their Medianoche releases, and even as I was there, they were marking this kind of like downtick in like, oh, we're not selling out anymore. We're stopped. It used to be this like reserves only kind of thing, and this and that, and almost this cult following. And I personally, I think there is a little bit of kind of exhaustion in that, and it goes back to the money. The money thing is having discretionary money to spend. Now you're just getting into like buyer psychology.
Right. Yeah.
But, which like Sean and I found out recently there's collectors out there that collect the cans. Like they literally drill the holes in the cans and like they'll drain the beer, but they collect the artwork.
Right.
So I mean there's collectors out there that's like, I don't know if they're drinking the beer or they're just collecting the cans, but there's all different styles.
Yeah, and that was really heavy. I was just on a call. You see two bottles right behind me there of a spirit kind of manufacturer on here. I was just on a call last week with somebody in and around your area over there who, I mean, you just see shelves and shelves and shelves of collectibles, and that is I don't want to call it a relic necessarily, but that is from that that kind of like artwork arms race that you saw of people trying to be the loudest and everything, and sometimes with good reason, sometimes with good intentions of, hey, we're sourcing from local artists, or we license. You talk about like that cat and the unicorn holding the gun. They license that artwork from the artist, from the actual artist who made it.
Sure.
So there's good intentions behind it a lot of the time, but it's still around. Obviously you can see here, it's definitely still around. But I certainly think, it was a collectible. They still can be collectibles, but it's, the market is definitely shifting away from that.
Yeah. This one I have on the screen is the Martin House, which I love just the crazy flavors they have. But they're ones that actually don't, I think, do a good job of like, having that immediately recognizable, other than just their little bird here on the corner of every can. They're just all over the place with
they're all right.
Yeah. This series looks similar. You kind of get it, but the rest of their stuff is just all over the place.
It's like collecting cards, man. You want to anytime a new release or a new series comes out, you want to like, okay, I got to get that. And
then this one, I don't know if you've heard of this one, Bryant, Jester King.
Oh yeah,
outside Austin. They're much more on the lifestyle. Like they do talk about their beer if you go into their website, and how in the barn they open the windows at night and they let the dust and the all the stuff come in and hit the as it's fermenting and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. They do a good job of storytelling with that. Yeah. But it's very much like lifestyle. Come out to the farm, listen to music, play with the goats. Like the beer is almost secondary.
But
right.
And I think
I've been there. I'm I played with the goats.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And they even do metal. On Saturday they have yoga and metal to metal music with goats. Like up at a weird combination.
Goat yoga and some metal in the background. I love it.
Yeah. It's awesome. Then have a beer and pizza afterwards. So it's crazy. Who's your I know you can't, I don't know if you can say this or not. I was going to ask you, who's your favorite brewer and why right now?
Who's my favorite brewery and why? Myself, brewing a stout. No. What am I liking right now? Let's see. Like I said, I might be biased. My client out of Kansas City, they're doing some good, good work. He's one of those, really super approachable called shout out to Transparent Brewing. And really it's about being transparent with customers. We produced our brand video recently, and the taproom manager was like, if you want the recipe, he'll give it to you. It's just, this is the kind of thing that they operate on. And I like it because of that. I like it because of just the transparency of things and the openness and the sharing. Product wise, maybe this is a bad answer. I've been cutting out the beer lately. So not as heavy of a, that's our brand video that we made there. And, they're killing the game with, they opened up their own restaurant inside, and having these, it's like the majority of searches and people who going there are looking for their tacos or looking for their scratch made burritos and tacos. They're almost more of a restaurant. And I can nerd out for another half hour about that. It's like food is a big part of an attractor, more than the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tacos and beer go hand in hand. I mean,
craft beer and tacos. They need a branch down here in Austin.
Every time I look at a pic, like all those pictures, like I can't edit these pictures without like, oh my God, I want to go. I need to go to that place.
So you won. How do you win? So 3 Emmys for your company. What's the criteria, and tell us a little bit about that, because that's pretty impressive. I mean,
thank you. Those were Emmys that I won, and that's why I make sure to kind of delineate. I won those when I was in TV news, doing feature pieces on, there's a guy in Denver who plays saxophone under the bridge on the way to Broncos games, right? But he's kind of dressed up, and he's got like a he's not like a homeless guy playing a beat up saxophone. He's got a suit on. He's a nice, approachable guy. So doing a feature about him. Turns out he teaches music to kids before and after school kind of thing. So those were it was outside of full pour media that I got the Emmys, but the 9 craft beer marketing awards, obviously those are all very much craft beverage focused.
Wow. What's the criteria on those awards? I mean, what is it? All storytelling and
I think a couple of years ago they unveiled like best beer tattoo. They've got packaging, they've got website, they've got physical space, best physical space. There's about 5 or 6 video categories. Different kind of product, service, storytelling. I believe the majority of the ones that we have won for, one of them was I was talking about like that fresh hop flight brewery, kind of getting in planes and flying in and out, and just turned out to be a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first ones that we got, but they were all for our video storytelling within the beer industry.
Right.
Hey, Jonathan, I was trying to remember the name of the guest we had on maybe a year and a half ago that was going to some awards or was actually offering an award.
Yeah.
Can't remember who that was now. So
absolutely. Yeah, I can't remember.
I have to find that, but yeah. So
we also had Pete. Remember Pete Schlossberg? He was the guy from Pete's Wicked Ale.
Yeah.
He was like one of the original craft beer guys back, because he started his company back in the 80s, and then he sold out and made a fortune. I think he sold out to Budweiser and made a small fortune. But I don't know if you've come across, like, I don't know if he's still he's probably pretty older now, because Sean and I interviewed him like probably 4 or 5 years ago.
I haven't specifically come across him. I think Pete's Wicked Ales rings a little bit of a bell, but not super familiar.
Yeah. It's not. I don't even know if it's a brand much anymore, but
no, because Budweiser. Yeah, because Budweiser bought it and then shut it down. They basically just killed it.
That's what they do.
It was a popular brand, and then Budweiser bought him out, and it's killed the beer. I guess that's what happens a lot of times. I guess.
Yeah.
So
it's one way to get rid of the competition. Just buy them and put them on the shelf.
Buy all the grain so they can't buy any of the grain, and jack the price up of the grain. And
all the stuff. So, well, Brian, this has been fun. Appreciate you coming on. I want to give you a chance to shout out your company, and whoever, who knows, we might have somebody listening that knows somebody. So,
of course. Yeah, Full Pour Media. It's fullpourmedia.com. It's at Full Pour Media on Instagram. Really heavy into the content strategy, really heavy into that storytelling, as we've been nerding out about. We work with breweries, really tightening up their digital strategy. Obviously all the way from A to Z. I like to say, from kind of very first start off, all the way to going into distribution, or tightening up their social media strategy, kind of like we were talking about earlier. And then even on the supplier side, a lot of the video work we do, you kind of see like Yakima Chief Hops down there, or the BA, or G4 Kegs. These are all supplier brands that we've helped out as well, building up their websites, kind of increasing their content strategy, video case stories to help them sell products a lot easier. We believe heavily, obviously, in the power of video, and are ready to rock.
Well, this does seem to be a video first world these days.
Yeah,
for sure.
So yeah.
Are you mostly craft beer, or do you work with any other companies, like in spirits, like in the
we always say like food and bev, and then anything adjacent. A lot of the clients that I've been working with lately, last summer I went out to Huntington Beach to do some wastewater treatment, because one wing that they have is wastewater treatment, but they also have a food and water line. So it's pretty heavily spread across the board. We've definitely got spirits clients, you can see back there, beer, spirits, THC, food, bev, any and all.
Awesome.
Wow, very cool.
Well, thanks, man. We appreciate this. It's been a really fun interview.
Yeah.
It's great getting a perspective from someone like you who, does a lot of the marketing and a lot of the legwork on, helping, these brands out there really get their name out. So pretty cool.
I appreciate you having me on, fellas.
Yeah, got to keep these local brewers alive, so we have somewhere
Absolutely.
to go.
Where to go? Exactly. Right. Let the kids run around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is kind of crazy that's a part of breweries now, is the playgrounds and all that stuff, pickleball courts, all that stuff. So, well, Brian, we're going to put you back in the green room for a second. We'll close out, and then we'll come right back to you.
Thank you.
Yep. Good stuff, man.
Oops.
Yeah,
man. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes of just any given business,
Yeah.
That there's so many moving parts, and you start to see and have so much respect for entrepreneurship and small business and even big business. Like you just don't realize how much stuff, how much effort goes into stuff we just take for granted. Whether it's the local restaurant, whether it's a big restaurant chain, national chain, like there's just so many moving parts. And
it's a tough business to stay alive in, right?
Yeah.
A tough industry to stay alive in. And whether it's restaurant or beer, I mean, the margins are not that big.
Yeah.
And, you're fighting competition, you're fighting to get customers, and,
and it's easy to, complain or gripe about, different chains or different, stores, whatever. But like I said, it's a tough business, and it's nice to have places to go when, those nights you don't want to cook, you don't want to clean up after yourself and all that kind of stuff. So I think we got to remember to, to appreciate these things and realize just the amount of effort and manpower and brain power that goes into any given business out there.
Absolutely.
Not just food and beverage, anything really.
Anything. Yeah.
So,
and I love that, the biggest takeaway I have is, like, Brian said, telling the story doesn't necessarily mean telling the story of your product. Because people love origin stories, and people love stories that are relatable, and also you're sharing something that sometimes vulnerability is a superpower. And
interest, like even the algorithms from TikTok and Instagram, the algorithms have shifted from follower count to interest based. So, and that's what we're kind of like Lake Living. That's an interest based brand. Not just, not just a certain type of beer. So I think that's really important. I think that's going to be more important is these communities that continue to form around, and the products become secondary to the community. Just like we're talking about.
Absolutely. It's just it's a product but people support. I think people are interested in the story and the why behind a lot of these companies, that they want to support the product. And then they find out the product's pretty good. They support the product, and it's like, this is a pretty good product too. And so it's a double win.
Yeah, because the choice is so much. You're looking for a reason to
Yeah.
support A over B or whatever, right? Because otherwise it's just too hard to make a decision. It's just too much out there, too many choices. So
too many choices.
All right, I'll let you wrap it up.
Yeah, good, great interview. Again, you can find Bryant. We'll have his links to his to their website on our show page for this particular episode. And you can find us, check us out over persuasionbythepint.com. You can find us on all of your favorite podcast platforms, StreamYard, that's what we're on, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, whatever. So check us out. And we'll see you next week. We've got another great guest coming next week. We're going to talk about how to start your own cult next week's show. So get ready to start your own cult in 2026. But we'll see you next week.
See ya.